Hi everyone, and welcome back to OpenTTD with me, Tommy P. Since last you joined us, I've been busy in the background doing a load of balancing and vehicle upgrades, as I said I would be doing. And this video will be talking through a lot of that sort of detail, and whilst I am planning on adding a few new bus services later in the video, I appreciate that talking through what I've been doing off camera might not be the most interesting thing that you guys want to see, so do feel free to flick on to the next video. Before we get into all the balancing and upgrades that I've been doing, one of the things that I noticed in review of the last couple of episodes is within our GRF set here, I'm using a bus set called the 2cc bus set, and these buses I noticed had particularly low running costs and purchase costs. So within a lot of GRFs you can change some of the parameters. Always worth having a look in your GRF list at these, because again that can help to just make your game a little bit more realistic. So what I've done here is increased both running costs and purchase costs from normal to very high for both of these. And what that's meant, I'll go to our available vehicles list here and I'll just show you an example right thing here. So this Renault TN6A was a vehicle that I started to use in the last video. However, its purchase price last time round was around about just under £3,000, and the running costs were extremely low, only about £180 a year. And then when we compare that to, say, the Leyburn, which obviously we've been using quite a lot, with running costs of about £180 a year, it's just massively out from this bus from this GRF set. So I felt that was the right thing to do, just to make sure that I don't solely use buses from this set, which again you can see here are all the ones with this little bus symbol next to it. That's all the ones from the 2cc bus set. So I've upgraded, or updated rather, those running costs, and while the running costs are a little bit less than some of the other sets, that is offset by the cost of purchasing those vehicles being a little higher. A couple of other things that I did off camera, I noticed down here in Little Rinthingbury North, where we set up our circular train route, that I had the signals for this part of the station here, which was wrong, so I've moved those just in case anybody's picked up on that. Another very minor change that I've made is we created this outer ring circular service here in Wayward, and to connect the outer ring, which includes Wayward Heights, which connects to our train station here, I had a bus service running between Market Square and Wayward Heights, as Market Square is on the inner ring. However, as I've done previously, I forgot to check that there was a proper loop in place here. So I've added a little bit of a extra road piece here to create that loop so that that runs a little more efficiently. Whilst we're in Wayward, I will highlight this building here, which has come from the objects list here, and again another GRF that I'm using. I'll find the right one here. Yes, World Landmarks. I'll be using a couple of these throughout the save in some of our more major cities. For those of you who live in the UK, this will look, I'm sure, very familiar to you. However, I've been unable to use the same name as the famous London landmark that this looks like, for fear of being sued by Sadiq Khan, and therefore I've named this Bigwood. I feel as a fitting tribute to our ever-growing metropolis of Wayward. Another minor little change that I've made just outside of Wayward on our circular passenger line is I've changed this from being a bridge to a tunnel. I think aesthetically it just looks a little better, and for the late game, obviously bridges are limited by a certain speed, whereas tunnels are not. So that's the couple of bits and bobs that I've done off camera. And now just to talk about balancing, we'll start with our passenger bus services. And the majority of these, I've just spotted this one here, which isn't right. But yes, the majority of these should now have changed from being the Leyburn to either the Renault TN6A, the Fiat 656RN, which is a new vehicle that's recently come online, or the AEC Regent. Looks like I've forgotten to do this one, and we'll be replacing that with the Regent, so we'll get that sorted there. But yes, the Leyburn has served us well for the first 25 years of in-game time. However, better vehicles are now coming online. Again, I've clearly missed some more of these. Let's just quickly go and attend to that. Penwell is our second biggest city. Yeah, we'll be changing these also to Regents. The Regents have one of the highest capacities available at this point. So for these inner city circular routes, which I've got quite a relatively short travelling distance. Top speed is no longer really a consideration when we look at the passenger numbers. It's all about capacity. So I'll just quickly get those starting to update. And whilst we're here, we'll double check. I've done all those. That was the Padston one that we just dealt with. London Central. Quickly have a look in here in London. I'm just gonna, one button there. I'm just gonna quickly just check the cargo flow legend, just in case that there's a reason. No, they do need updating. What do we update those to? No, why are you not selecting? That was the Renault. So we'll update those to the Renault as well. Hopefully that will be the last one. Note to self, double check your work before coming online. So let's turn that cargo flow legend off. Well, just have a, what do we do in here? Oh no, they're already, what route's that one taking? Yeah, they're already in the process of being updated. You can see this little orange arrow here. Wayward, where are you going? So that's on the clockwise. Yeah, in the city clockwise. Again, that's already being updated. Yeah, I think that's all of them. So, lots of additions to there, as you saw. Plenty of buses now on our network. I think we've more than doubled the amount of vehicles on the road since last you joined. Down here in Padston, as we have done in Wayward, I have added an outer ring. This city, I think now is our second largest, if I remember, after Wayward. Yeah, that certainly needed an update there. So we have the outer ring on this one. However, unlike our Wayward outer ring service, where, as I mentioned before, I had to have a connection between Wayward Heights and Wayward Market Square to connect the outer and inner ring. what I've done with this route, so halt, exchange, transfer, annex, sidings and west were the new stations that we added, but what I've done is to get the route to include a couple of stations, so Padstow Main and Padstow North, into the outer ring route as well, and that will help passengers transfer from one route to the other. And I've done something similar in Penwell. Again, I've added an outer ring, also connecting up Penwell transfer. So we have our train station connected to a bus station. Very quickly to show you, in here the buses go through, just trying to remember which were the original stations here. Yeah, I think, yeah, High Street, Penwell, Central and North were the original inner ring stations. So as you see here, we have a connection central which will allow passengers to transfer in and out between the outer and inner rings. In Barnpool, town had grown very slightly, still quite a small town, but warranted putting in an extra station here. So we now just have a little route running between these two stations. And in Flintfield, we only had 3 stations last time you were with us. I've added in Flintwell East now and changed the orders so that the buses are running between all 4 of those stations. Down in Little Roomfingbury, I was contemplating adding some additional stations into this town, but in the end I elected to just rearrange where the stations were. So I moved, I think we had a station around here which actually had a different name, I forget the name of it now, but I removed that station and then added a station here which connects to the train station, and then slightly rearranged all of the other existing bus stops that we had just to spread them out a little better. And that's working quite well for us. We are now getting to a certain point. I'm just going to show you Wayward as an example. But yeah, we are getting to a point now where there are nearly too many buses on the network for just a singular bus stop per location. So I might need to review at some point quite soon whether we add another stop in, or whether we slightly change the layout of certain stations to allow the additional capacity that we've put into the network to flow a little better. But I have started to see, here's an example, a lot of vehicles starting to clog up around stations and having to wait to get in. and one for another time. So that's all of our bus vehicles. Moving on to our trains. I mentioned that I was going to have a look at all of our freight vehicles, and in the end this became quite an easy decision in terms of what vehicle to upgrade to. So we had this new Metrovic EM1, which is one of the first electric vehicles that comes into play with the UK rail set that I'm using. This is a general purpose, so sticking in and fitting with my rules of not using passenger locomotives for freight services. So that's the Metrovic. In comparison to the vehicles we were using for freight, so the Metrovic has a top speed of 65 miles an hour, and currently the freight that we are transporting, the wagons for that, which are all the same, the tanker wagons only have a top speed of 55 miles an hour, so the Metrovic covers that. Its tractive effort is quite phenomenal at just under £45,000 per foot. In comparison to the Mogul, which we were using, Mogul's top speed was only 60, tractive effort £25,000 per foot, horsepower of 1100. Horsepower on the Metrovic is just under 1400. And in comparison to the 060 Freight, which we were also using, the Metrovic has nearly double the power, much better top speed, and again far better tractive effort. Running costs are £4,000. The Mogul was nearly £5,500, and the 060 Freight £3,500. So a bit of a no-brainer in the end, and a nice easy update for me to do. So all of our freight vehicles now, as you'll see, are this Metrovic EM1. On our passenger line, I have doubled the amount of vehicles, or locomotives rather, on this line. I won't be able to see this here, but some of these numbers of how much profit they were making was quite unbelievable. This one here at the top made nearly £90,000 last year, and as I predicted, this is proving to be an extremely profitable line, and plenty of passengers still, well, say that, Froningworth, not great, but over 5.5 here, 5,500 at Penwell, just under 5 at Little Runthingbury, and as you quickly saw before there, just under 4 at Wayward Heights. So that's certainly helping to drive good profitability for us. I did quickly put the cargo flow legend on before, but this is now, as you can see, becoming massively populated, and quite complicated, and I have to say it is making balancing a lot more time consuming. However, balancing is an integral part of this game, and in the main, whilst we do still have some red lines after all of our balancing efforts, I'm okay with most of these sort of yellow and greens here. The vast majority of these were all in red. I'll just turn that off. As the national anthem plays in the background. Beautiful. So the results of all of these upgrades to faster or higher capacity vehicles, and just adding just more vehicles generally into our network, has had a profound positive impact on our profitability. So last year with us was here in 1942, and our profits had stagnated and plateaued somewhat to this point, and after balancing we've had huge growth, nearly doubled the amount of profitability per quarter that we were making. The overall net effect of that, so we're now in it's actually 1st of January 1945, just finished the last financial year, and whilst this is showing a bottom line profit of $500,000 due to new vehicles for balancing, which came in at 1.1 million, when you take that out, you can now see that we're making around about £1.6 million profit per year, which is a fantastic number to hit, and will now pretty much allow us to go out and do whatever we need to do. Our overall revenue has now hit over £10 million, and our company value is nearly at £15 million, so total assets of almost £25 million, and as such I feel that warrants a reward for my hard work. So I'll nip out to Primani and buy some proper CEO glasses. So that's all of our balancing upgrades and other bits and bobs that I've been doing off camera. Last couple of bits that I wanted to do on today's video. I'm going to pop back to one of the first places we started on our cargo network here at Nindhead Fish Market, as it would appear fairly recently that a new fishing grounds has appeared, and it's actually quite a high production fishing ground, the best one of these three certainly. So I'll set up our group. shoals. I don't think we've had too many more new ships come online. This paddle steamer, yeah, the running costs are just still too high. Nearly £8,000 a year compared to the Windjammer. So we'll stick with the Windjammer, but I think the difference this time round, I'll just clone that one. And quickly move that into the right group. But because of the distance here, I'm just going to get 2 of those running, just so that we have a nice even distribution of cargo collection. I mentioned last time round that I wanted to set up a ferry service between Wayward and Gruborn here, and I think this beach has quite recently appeared, which is a nice added bonus because that will generate lots of passengers for us. So we will get a dock in here, and I think we'll add that to Wayward Heights, as this is obviously now one of our main focus points, probably on the entire network. The amount of connections that we've got going to this station. We'll need our ship depot. We'll add see if there's what have we got in here. It says that it's a tyre plant building, but it looks pretty cool. So how does our little office stroke passenger terminal? This will be our first ferry service, and I would envisage we'll get some pretty decent passenger numbers. But again, because ships don't go particularly fast, I mean the highest one we have here, 25 miles an hour. Speed will be the key thing for this service. 13,000. And I think this one will be we'll go for this Barletta. No affiliation with Lambretta. 2 of those running again, just to get a nice distribution of passengers. It wouldn't be a Tommy P video without some new groups. Unlikely we'll ever need more than one dock in a town or city, but you never know. So that's that one all done and set up. And then the last thing I wanted to do was to connect up these 3 towns here to Little Ringfingbury within the next few episodes or so. I'm aiming to expand our central line down this way. We have some quite sizable cities, as you'll see. And I think we'll be coming this way down with it. But we want to make sure we capture all of these little cities. So for now, I think we'll just have a single bus stop for each town. And even though we have lots of money still in the bank, I'm still trying to use as much of the existing infrastructure that we have in place to keep profits high. And again, being a cheapskate, we'll use the existing depot that we have here in Little Ringfingbury rather than setting up a new one. I think we'll go with the Fiat for this particular service. A little bit longer. Well, I might go with the Renault. The Renault running costs are a little bit less per year. Yeah, we'll go with the Renault for Nunston. But for Cundingston and Punnington, we'll go with a Fiat. That loop, check that this time. Yep, nice easy loop background for them. 2 of those away. And we have our Fiat, which will go to Cundingston, also to Little Ringfingbury. 2 of those away. And where did I put the station? There it is. I think with this one, due to the distance, we'll go straight in with 4. It's also slightly bigger size town. Okay guys, that's it for today's episode. Hopefully next episode will be a little bit more exciting for you. I'm going to be going back to our cargo network and to our ammonia plant here, starting to get the other cargoes that this requires to get it at maximum production rate. So hope you can join me then. This is Tommy P, signing off.